What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Every Week We Follow. So today we have got a very, very special episode in highlight of it being Children's Hospice Week. I think that's what
Yes.
it's actually called. Gary's holding a football, which you might have seen on the pod before, but we are actually going to give you details, probably in about 5-10 minutes, on how you can get your hands on this ball, again, as part of the whole thing with Acorns. So, Gary, how you doing first, mate?
Mate, I'm buzzing about today's show. I really am. I think this is just maybe a little bit of a break from all the depressing non-transfer or rumoured transfers, just to do something and try and give a little bit back, and discuss actually that Villa, our wonderful club, is more than just a football club. You know, what it does in and around the community and doesn't always get the recognition that it deserves, in my opinion. So it's nice to kind of bring a highlight to that, and hopefully we can raise a little bit of money in the process towards Acorns Children's Hospice.
Exactly. So just to give everyone a bit of an idea of what this is going to be, it's probably going to be about half an hour or so.
Yeah.
We're going to just be talking about Gary and his family, how they've had the experiences they've had with Acorns Children's Hospice, and we will be explaining to you how you could potentially get your hands on this ball. It's a competition that we will be running up until probably the winter period, so you could try and get it for one of your loved ones for Christmas, or just keep it for yourself if you are that way inclined.
Yes.
Right.
We're looking, mate, just to give people an idea, we're looking to raise a minimum of £1,000, guys, to help Acorn. So yeah, and we'll go into the details in a short while. But yeah, it'd be great if you can get on board with this and help us. You know, and you could have this lovely piece of merchandise signed by the first team. Yeah,
exactly. It could be the last one. I was going to say it could be the last one Emi Martinez signs, but I don't know if we said we couldn't find the signature. Maybe.
Yeah, mate. I mean, there's one here that looks like 23. I'm not sure if I've never seen his signature, so I don't know what it looks like. If anyone's in the comments has his signature.
Debut 23, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
That could be it. I don't know. But I haven't done the research. I will try and find out if he signed this. I'll ask my.
All the other ones are on there.
But yeah, there's only Martinez that I can't see. The rest of them are all on there.
Yeah.
So this is from the 24-25 season. So
yeah, exactly. Brilliant. Right. So Gary, take it away. So how did you guys come about with your kind of affiliation with Acorns?
Well, so yeah, I guess the backstory is that my daughter Abby has muscular dystrophy. She was diagnosed when she was 2. We've used Acorns since she was about 5 or 6. So in that kind of period between 2 and 6, finding support was difficult, mate, because it wasn't readily available. Nobody really knew. Abby's got an incredibly rare condition. Like at the time of the diagnosis, it was like, we had a fundraising campaign that was Abby 1 in a million, because it was 1 in a million babies were born with this condition. So finding people that, 1, knew anything about it, 2, knew how to support it was just like rocking horse poo, if I'm honest. And then it was through Abby's physio that we got referred to Acorns, basically for hydrotherapy initial, because it just massively helps Abs being in the water. And it started there, and we've been going. Well, Abby's 17 now, so a good 10, 11 years, and it's like what they do is beyond incredible. Like people see on TV and stuff, and because Acorns is pretty big, right, and it does support a lot of people, but like it's not just the facilities they give you access to; it's just the consistency of support. So for all the people that are involved with Abby, and there are a lot throughout the NHS, Acorns have always been the ones that have been at the forefront if we've needed anything, or to give a signpost to places that we need to go to, whether it be actual support of equipment that we've needed, whether it's been emotional support, not just for Abby, but for her siblings, because, this condition's horrible and, we need that level of emotional support. And, you can probably judge a place by its turnover of staff, can't you? And the same staff have been there for our entire stay. So it says to me that they're doing something right, that the money that goes into this place is much needed. There's been a couple of rocky bits when they changed CEO, right, and that's always a dubious kind of thing, and some support was withdrawn. But on a whole, they've tried to bring that stuff back and kind of make sure that that those things are still available, like for siblings and for the people that use it. And like I say, the biggest thing for us is that is the respite care that it offers. Like getting Abby looked after is difficult because she needs specialist care. So they provide it brilliantly, in terms of that every plan is detailed to the individual, and they bend over backwards. You have to go through an annual kind of assessment where they update it, and it goes right down to the detail from, it's the little things that count, isn't it? Like likes, dislikes. So they make it really personable and just try and make it like a second home, really. And Abs has we've utilised that. One, to give us a break, and two, to give Abs a break and interact with other people outside the family. So, yeah, it's I just can't speak highly enough of the place, and I think I've wanted to do this episode for a while since we started the pod. It's just been trying to get everything together and kind of get it off the ground. Any amount of money we raise I know will be massive to them, whether that's employing somebody to do some play stuff, whether it's sensory stuff, whether it's maintenance of the building, whatever it is. It's like they consistently need that support because it funds basically the people that do this wonderful work, the nurses, the physios. They've just built a new family room, so people can families can actually come and stay, because Acorns isn't just about local people. People do come from a distance and all over the country to use it because there's only, I think, 3 hospices. There's one in Selly Oak, there's one in Worcester, and one in Walsall. So it's spread across the 3 of them, and I know they just do a great deal of work across the board. And so I really want to make sure we can give a little back.
Yeah, brilliant. That's fantastic. And so how does the connection with Villa come about from the stuff you've done with Acorns?
Yeah, so I think obviously one of the things when you're doing your profile, they ask you what you're interested in, and Abby's not the biggest football fan in the world, but she's there because I am, and I've driven it through the family of being Villa fans, so she's had to endorse it, and we've taken her down for as long as I can try and remember to all these Villa things to build that relationship. And I think they just took that and was like, oh, the Bennett family are into the Villa. So the stuff we've done, we've just been really lucky. Like, we've met the squad a couple of times at Acorns. We've been to Villa Park and done the stadium tour through Acorns. We've been to a couple of the foundation events that have raised money for that, just to kind of at Acorns again, whether that it's not always the first team. They've done stuff with the youth team, and we went to Bodymore Heath a couple of years ago, and Ava got to do like a sports day event there. That was for the siblings, which was amazing, and so they're always kind of just in contact with various families that are Villa supporters, and they try and do it nice and even. They try and space it out and give everyone opportunity as well, which is really nice. So it's kind of it's probably stuff you wouldn't normally get access to, and so they've got this hot knack of just making you feel special, I guess, and that's really a nice thing to have when you're dealing with something like Abby's condition on a daily basis, because it's not always sunshines and rainbows, mate. Let's be honest. I just, the work they do is incredible. I don't know what we'd do without it. Like I say, that my biggest compliment is that how consistent they've been in their support, and we are in our final year at Acorns because Abby turns 18 next year, and obviously it's a children's hospice, so we are in our final year of using these facilities. And if I'm honest, I'm devastated because there is adult services, like looking at trying to get Abby hydrotherapy and stuff like that. It's all NHS waiting lists. They only do 6-week blocks, so it's something that Abby needs to do like every week. And so we're looking at various options, but there's nothing there that's as consistent as having a weekly session at Acorns. There aren't many hydrotherapy pools in Birmingham. I think there are like 3, and the ones that are private are pretty much booked up, and you can only get, again, 5 or 6 week slots, and because they're trying to get everybody in. There's the Royal Orthopaedic that's got a thing, but again, it's all just kind of how often you can use these facilities, where Acorns is just, it's there, it's up the road from us, and we go every Thursday and we get an hour in the pool, and it's just something that Abby desperately needs. So I'm going to miss it, and this is why I wanted to do this now, because I think it's it'd be a nice send off for us as a family to give them something back. Like I was saying, if we get to the winter break, like Abby turns 17 in February, so it'll kind of tie in nicely. So yeah.
Brilliant, fantastic. Well, we've actually got like a little video which was actually from Christmas.
Yes,
you guys,
so this was the last thing we did, mate. We got invited at Christmas to meet some of the squad. Yeah, roll the video and then people can see.
Brilliant. Nice. I saw John McGinn was laughing at your incredible attire here. So, Gary's laughing at himself, and then secondly, John's now just like, "What are you wearing, you numpty?" Even Tielemans was like, "Yes, this guy."
Mate, so for those that look, if you look at Tielemans there, he's looking down because I've actually got Christmas shoes on. They're bright red, kind of wrinkle pickers sort of thing, and
ridiculous. Honestly,
like Tielemans was like, but this moment was brilliant, mate, because actually McGinn in that moment was telling us that the Djokovic had just failed his driving test and he has to drive him everywhere.
Oh God, you forget how young the Djokovic is. He's like,
mate. Young, you know, it's a shame that he won't be around because he was a lovely guy as well, mate. When we met him, really, really nice kid. And Tielemans was awesome. And basically, he said that was the week before the Man City game at home, where we won 2-1. And mate, Tielemans, I said to Tielemans, like, I think we're going to get on at the weekend. He went, mate, we're going to win. Like just stone cold, like we're going to beat them. And we did. And I was like,
I actually remember you telling me that, and I was like, that isn't because he, if I'm O'Reilly, he was insane in that game.
Yeah,
he was absolutely brilliant.
Elite mentality. This guy is unreal, and maybe we can talk a bit more about him at the end. You know.
But then obviously John, honestly, John, I just want to go for a drink. I just want to go for a drink. I just want to like just have a chat with him. I just feel like he'd be hilarious.
I genuinely, having met him a couple of times, right, and this is how quality the man is. I can't speak more highly of John McGinn. Like, he met Abby in the year before at Easter, and he remembered him, mate. Like, and you think about all the people that he meets, like, and I was seriously impressed because sometimes you know, in and out to tick box exercise, a lot of these things are, but he was just brilliant, and he genuinely remembered, and he chatted to Abby, and they had this nice conversation. And he's one of the funniest guys ever. Honestly, like, he's just, as you see, he's just brilliant. I would love him to be my best mate. Come on, John. Come on the show.
He's just such a. Every time I see him, he's hilarious. Like, he did that thing, didn't he, with Villa, where he ended up jumping on like the phones for like the ticket at the ticketing office.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Your name's Unai." He was like, "That's mental." Like,
yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, it's John McGinn here," and the guy's like, "He's like, no, seriously, it's John McGinn."
Well, I think I said to him the first time I met him, which was at Easter, I said, if you pulled the short straw, did you lose the 5 sides? Is that why you've had to come to Acorns? And he went, like, seriously, didn't know what to, because I think he wanted to laugh, but he was like, "No, I can't laugh. I'm in the middle of a hospice." And I was like, "Mate, it's all good." He's like, "No, we want to be here. We want to be here."
So that's all you guys there in the photos. So just take it. Obviously, we know Yuri Tielemans. By the way, the lighting on Yuri Tielemans there, it looks like he's been photoshopped. It's like perfect studio lighting on his face.
Yeah, that was taken by AVTV, I think, because that's off their website. So yeah, you know.
But so who's there? So who's there? We got Nettie, which is
my sister-in-law. We've got my other daughter Ava, my nephew Harry, and then Abby, obviously in the middle, and then me in that wonderful attire. I don't think you can see my shoes on there. Which is
you can't see your shoes. The Djokovic is covering it.
It's covering my shoes. Damn it, you know. But yeah, it was. They were great, mate, and you know they spent a good couple of hours there and having genuine conversations with the families that were there, and the kids love it. And it's a nice thing for the club to do, you know, because it's something they don't have to do. It raises a bit of awareness. They bring some presents for the kids, you know, and it's I think it puts a lot of emphasis on what the children's hospices does, and that's what it's all about, really. So yeah,
brilliant. So just going to get quickly onto the ball. So obviously we've been lucky enough to secure a football from the team. It's signed by the squad. As far as we're aware, it does have Emi Martinez on there somewhere, we think.
Yeah, we think.
That's the only person that we can't quite identify, but everyone else is on there.
This is the question mark because it looks like 23. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah,
that's what I think. I think that might be his. But if anyone knows in the comments, because I've never seen his signature, so I wasn't lucky enough to meet him. He went to the Children's Hospital and didn't come to Acorns. But maybe this year for the final year if we get to go in December.
Yeah, never know. But essentially, to enter, you need to do 3 things. You need to like this video, or like a video. So it doesn't have to be this one because we're going to be running this, like we said, until the winter period. So you need to like, subscribe, and donate a minimum of £5. So if you donate £5, that will be an entry into the competition. If you donate £10, there's 2 entries. £15, there's 3 entries, and so on and so forth. You can donate multiple times throughout the year, up until the point that we're going to do the draw, and we will do the draw live with like a big wheel on
Wheel of Fortune.
I'll be doing my best basically to keep up with all the donations and all the subscriptions and likes and stuff via and put it all on like a spreadsheet and stuff, and then we'll feed that into the wheel. So yeah, so if you do like I said, multiples of £5, so if you do £5, that's one entry, £10, that's 2 entries, so on and so forth. You can do the maths. I don't need to tell you how the 5 times table works. Right.
Yes, we're not a Birmingham City podcast, mate.
No, exactly. So you can scan this little thing down here if you're watching. Like apparently half the people that watch this thing watching on TV, which is mental. I don't put YouTube on my TV. It's always on my phone. I don't cast it. Well, what's going on? This is mad. Also, my head would be like this
people
big.
Just want to see us big, mate. They want to see us big. That's all it is.
Big. Go big. So you can scan that down there. There's a link in the description. We'll have it on every video up until the winter period as well. And you just go there, donate, like, subscribe.
Yeah, so this we'll just keep doing that, and I guess we'll keep posting this up until we do the draw. I guess the next point, obviously, we've got a surprise guest coming on, mate, in a minute. And just before we bring her on, I just again some of the key points that the relationship between Villa and Acorns, I think, just to highlight, because the wonderful people at Acorns did send me a little bit of information about their working partnership with the Villa, and I think that's important to kind of highlight. And to be fair, look, most people will probably know some of these, but I just think it's kind of important to still highlight. And again, if we can donate, hit that, scan that, and make sure we do, because this is some of the work they do. So I think everyone knows that obviously Villa sponsored the team between 2008 and 2010. I don't know if most people know that was the first time that a football club done that in support of a charity, which I think is massive. And I'm sure other teams have done it since, but the PR that generates for Acorns and the money they get from that was absolutely huge. Like, you're talking literally keeping the hospices funded and running, which is crucial. They supply Acorns with merchandise and stuff like this to raffle off an auction to raise money, which is why we've got this from the contact at the Villa, because I mentioned I was doing it for Acorns, and she was like, "Yeah, we'll sort you out some stuff." And it took a while to get here, but it came, and I'm very very grateful for that. They also have 2 annual takeover days where they do one men's game, one women's game. And for those that watch the women's, they recently did it for the Arsenal game at home at Villa Park. And that's another great way of collecting cash and obviously raising awareness and funds for the charity. And the fact they do that, and I've done that annually, is massive, because I know that's a good money spinner for them too. And as I talked about with some of the trips we've had, the Villa facilitate stadium visits, tickets to the games, which I've been lucky enough to kind of be part of. Thanks to Acorns, I went to the corporate seats in the gas lamp thing in December for the Brighton game. That was part of Acorns for just because they're awesome. And then obviously I've had some away tickets sorted out this season through John McGinn. God bless him. He needs to be my best friend. Come on, John. Good old John. and you know, these things go under the radar, and they're not publicly publicised. They just do them because they're, you know, they want that connection. So it's nice that with all the talk of money and what's in the game, and you know, we've had this debate over the last couple of shows, haven't we? But it's nice that they still are continue to support local charities, you know, and that's important. So long may that continue. There we go. A Villa host, like I say, once a year, the team go to Selly Oak and the Children's Hospital, and the money's kind of that's raised from the TV, and obviously the experience that gives to the kids meeting the players, mate, it's next level. And I know that's not an easy thing to do for some of the players. Like a couple of the players, I won't mention names, that you know, you can see they're uncomfortable. It's not an easy thing to walk into that world and kind of see when you're a professional athlete, I suppose, because it's the other end of the spectrum. And I think some struggle with that. But the fact they do it, like, it just, the benefit and what it means to the families, I can only speak personally, but it just gives you a massive boost, because look, we've said this before, I think these guys feel like you know them because you're watching them week in, week out, and you're, you know, and actually obviously you don't, because that's how celebrity works, and they don't even know who you are. But it's nice that you can, that they feel like they're accessible, and that's thanks to Acorns. So again, we love that. And then currently Villa are also supporting Acorns, you know, more publicly this year, supporting the logo in Europe, you know, for our Champions League campaign, which was superb. And I think that was the last game, that was away at Bruges, I believe.
Yeah.
Or was it? Didn't, no. Yeah. I can't remember the PSG game. I can't remember if it, because certain countries obviously have different rules with the betting, don't they? So, you know, but I think as of when I got this information,
it was the third kit, which I think was the Bruges game.
Yeah, the Bruges game. And I think it looks awesome. You know, I know there's websites how you can get it done. I'd love to see more of that. I got absolutely hammered when I said that Villa should be looking at that permanently. You know, but no, we need the 40 million for, you know, PSR and all. Right, I get it, but you know, as I said, in 2008 to 2010, that was a massive thing for Acorns, and we almost set the bar there. It'd be nice to come back to it now we're doing well. I don't know, you know, I know it's important that we have money coming to the club, but there's got to be other avenues. And then just that sort of, as I mentioned before, they also collaborate with Aston Villa Foundation, which is obviously part of the Villa Charitable Trust, and that provides soccer schools and all that kind of stuff for kids with disabilities, siblings, all that kind of things. And that's been more collaborative since last year, 2024. And they've done things like events like this has been all over the Villa page, the abseil from down the whole end that you can do. That's part of the foundation and partnership with Acorns. So I think they raised £20,000 for Acorns last year doing that, you know, which is, you know, awesome, right? And that's kind of it in terms of the partnership. But, you know, I think the emphasis is that kind of money and this kind of involvement from the club enable Acorns to keep existing year on year out, to enable kids with life-limiting conditions to get the support that they need, and not just from a respite care, but from a psychological, mental health perspective. It's just like, I just love Acorns from my whole heart, and I'm going to be gutted when we can't use them. So yeah, and now I just, you know, we've got Abby, my daughter, who I've spoken a lot about it. I'm very passionate about it, but like, Abs can kind of maybe tell a little bit about her own personal experience of Acorns and what it means to her. So let's bring her in.
Bring her on.
Yeah.
She's talking to someone currently, so I'm just waiting.
Here
we go. Right.
Well, we've kept her waiting for 23 minutes. Dude,
Hey, Ab.
Hello.
Welcome.
How are you?
To every
Thank
week
you.
we follow the boys in Claret and Blue.
Yeah.
Don't get embarrassed. It's only your dad.
I'm not embarrassed. Avy was just here. She was like, "What are you doing awake?" And I was like, "Aves, what are you doing here? Do you have school today?"
She's got to walk to school. No, thanks for coming on, Abs. And I massively appreciate this, because I know, you know, being 17 and chatting with your dad about personal stuff is always fun, right?
Yeah.
But I just thought, as we're trying to raise money and get this ball donated, I thought you could maybe just tell us a little bit about your own personal experience with Acorns and what it's meant to you over the last 10, 11 years that you've been using it.
Yeah. I think Acorns has been like my most consistent support in my entire life. I started going when I was like 8, and now I'm 17. and they've never like differed or like, you know, it's always been a consistent thing in my life that I know if I need like help tomorrow, or if I need a piece of equipment that if you order from like these companies, it takes 6 months to arrive. They give me one to borrow for like a year or two. Like they're very good in that sort of sense. And I think just an outlet to be able to do things and go somewhere with equipment I need, because the world isn't built for disabled people. It's not. But
No, it's not.
So Acorns is. So if if I want to go and do anything like art or they have a PS5 there, I'm sure, like that sort of stuff. It's really good for a social aspect as well.
Yeah, and John McGinn could vouch that if he was to come on the show because he's played FIFA there. I've seen him do it. Come on, John.
Has he?
He's
Come
not
on, John,
watching
you
this,
gotta
so
come on,
don't worry,
mate.
I'm snorting.
No, I know, Dad. Don't worry.
Yeah. No, so, but what about in terms of like the actual care that you get there when you're there? Like in terms of, we've used it for respite care, and you struggled with doing things outside of the family, and I think for me, Acorns has helped us massively with that, around not just the physical side of it, but your mental health and kind of being able to kind of access stuff that you really want to do. I don't know what kind of things have they done with you when you've been there? Like, what do they?
Well, I had a lot of. I think the mental support I got was more when I was a little bit younger, because as I've grown up a bit more, I'm able to kind of
Understand the process.
Therapy, but like I've been able to get there. But when I was younger, so throughout my medical history, I've had a lot of mini traumas, and I will continue to have traumas because my condition is not going anywhere and it's only going to get worse. So I've had to, one main thing they did was I had a massive fear of blood tests and needles because I had a very bad experience with a woman, and I went to Acorns.
Wow! Hang on.
But
You need a bit of context on that.
so, yeah, basically, in the wonderful world of the NHS, mate, let's say that the phlebotomists aren't all great, right, when they come to taking blood.
Fine. I was just like, when you hear I didn't have a wonderful experience with a woman, I was like, definitely need to add some context to that when you're doing something online.
Yeah. So no, one of the first blood tests that Abby ever went to at the Children's Hospital, a lady just basically stabbed her with a needle and took blood without any kind of. It was quite a harrowing experience, and it caused massive trauma for Abby going for any other future blood tests. And Acorns did a wonderful piece of work with you, didn't they, in terms of breaking that barrier down to get to a point where actually now you can have blood taken because you had a real fear of it, and it was a real anxiety-driven thing. And obviously, Abby's had to have lots of blood tests in her life, so it was a battle. I think. I think the other thing for me, that Acorns did really well. If we go cast our minds back a short 5 years during COVID, where we were isolated and didn't see anyone, food packages, and we were then started having to talk. When we came out of COVID, we had to. The big cloud over us as a family was your potential operation on your spine that needed to happen, and I think Acorns have been brilliant in supporting us around that, in terms of giving us access to the right people within the Children's Hospital, the pain management, the support. It's one of those that I don't know how we would have coped without it, because it's been back and forth on that for like 4 or 5 years, isn't it? And it's fair to say we've been to some dark places, and I don't know what do you think about that with Acorns in terms of the surgery? You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, obviously.
No, I'm very open with all this stuff. I think my surgery, which I'm not having anymore, it was just it was the most serious thing I've ever had to deal with, really, because I was told when I was 11 that I would need a surgery, and then COVID hit, everything got delayed for everyone in the world, but it just so happened that over COVID, my spine got really bad, like very fast, and I lost a lot of weight, and mouth was all over the place, and Acorns kind of, I remember actually when I was struggling with my feeds, which is what my tube is, they were giving us different tips and tricks on how to do it, or like which different ways to do it, and programming stuff. And they really tried to help in with that stuff, because that was so new to me as well. And with my surgery, like you said, Dad, they've given us the opportunity to speak to people who we wouldn't have been put in contact with through the NHS. So I think they really helped with so much. It's really hard to put into words.
Well, I think they facilitate a lot of things, don't they? Because we've been able to go to appointments at Acorns when if the Children's Hospital has been too much, we've actually had meetings at Acorns, haven't we? We had a respiratory meeting, if you remember, with Dr. Desai, who came in and kind of when your breathing started to deteriorate, and we had to kind of go through that. And without that option, that would have been really difficult, because you would, in that time when you were really ill, it was, like I say, they facilitated that, and that probably should have come from the Children's Hospital, if I'm honest. But Acorns just took the lead, and kind of that's the kind of unsung stuff they do for me. Again, where would we be without it? We'd probably be in a very different place, and you're in probably the best health position that you've been in 6 years, aren't you? And that's not solely down to Acorns, but I think they've played a massive part in it. Most of the stuff's down to you, because you've been awesome, and
Thanks.
but I love you big time. Boom.
Abby, what's your favourite Acorns moment been over the course of time?
Good question, James.
Oh my God, there's been so many, James. You put me on the spot.
It's okay. You don't have to give me one. Give me top three.
Top three. Okay, so I know this is gonna, you probably wouldn't expect this answer, but definitely the Villa players, I would say, is top three, because the thing with that I kind of want to mention, not really for me, because I'm not really a massive football fan, but there are lots of little boys that go to Acorns who can't access Villa grounds and can't actually go to games and see the players in real time, and they have to watch it all on TV. So when the Villa players come to them, it's kind of like it gives them a unique experience that other people can't have. So to just feel like you're a priority to a football club is a really nice feeling, just for my community and like people like me. My dad's smiling and looking at my mum, I can see. Yeah, it's just really nice to feel seen and like important to people, that if they didn't want to, they didn't have to. Kind of like, there are not many football clubs do. Well, I don't know if that's true, but not that I've really seen. But
let's just leave it. Let's just say that is true.
Leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your other two?
Yeah, sorry. I think so. They facilitate lots of going out experiences for me as well. One weekend I did when I was like 11 that I really enjoyed was I stayed there for an entire weekend, and we went to so many different places as like a group, and it was me and I think 5 other kids, and we went to the cinema, we went bowling, we went to like what else did we do? We went to restaurants, we went to museums and stuff, and it was really, really fun. And like to do that with people like me, and I didn't like, me and my family, we didn't have to work out anything like in terms of accessibility or traveling or anything. It was all just sorted for us, and I think that was a really good one. And then another one, these aren't in order, by the way, this is just like my top 3. And then another one is I went to a pantomime with my sister, just me and her, a couple months ago, which was actually really fun.
What did you go to again? What was it?
It was Peter Pan in the pantomime, yeah. And it just felt really independent, which Acorns sorted out for us, because my little sister, she's 15, but I had to be the adult because I'm 17. So I was like, yes, I get to be in charge. It just felt really independent, and like I'm actually doing stuff outside of carers or my parents.
Yeah, we
So-
loved it. Me and your mum went to the pub.
You did.
It was
So
nice.
you were, yeah, you were right. You just like went out, got
Off you go,
sloshed.
kids. Enjoy the theatre.
It was great.
Pub.
Oh, amazing. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. And who, one last question for you, Abs, is who's your favourite Villa player that you've met?
John McGinn, hands down.
John
Because
McGinn.
I met him. Oh gosh, I met him twice.
It's just pinging you.
I know. I met him twice, and I met him once last. Was it Easter, Dad?
Yeah, Easter.
Yeah, Easter. And that was the first time I met him. And then I met him again at Christmas. He was like, "You're Abby," and I was like, "I am." I was here in. We meet so many kids. How do you remember me? Like my name? I didn't say that. I was like, "Oh, hello." I was kind of like in shock, kind of like because John McGinn made me feel very like he wanted to be there, not like it was a duty that he had to do. So, and he was lovely, and I took the piss out of my dad with him, so it was great.
Yeah. Meatball taking the piss out of me. God bless him.
But, I mean,
Captain, our hero.
Yeah, speaking of if you want to take the piss out of Gaz, so we've got the comments down below. So if you want to take, there's usually plenty of stuff that's said about Gary.
Bring it on. Abys's papa's got a head like a ping pong ball.
That's people.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Abs. That was really interesting. Really, really great to hear about. And obviously, we are going to try and raise as much money as we can for Acorns through this. We have done stuff before. I did a bungee jump. Managed to raise some money for you guys as well. So if anyone else is doing any kind of, events or anything, if you can't think of a charity to do it for
Acorns is the one. And if you can't do just donation, that's all we ask for. £5. I know it's difficult, times are hard, but honestly, for families like myself and for other people, it's something that needs to continue. We can't afford to let these hospices go. So I know it's difficult, but every little helps. So please donate where you can.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for coming on, Abs. I think me and Gary are going to chat on some random stuff now, a little bit of Villa bit.
Yeah.
But I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Bye, guys.
Love you, sweetheart. Bye.
Love you.
Oh, what a ledge, mate! I just want to say she's phenomenal. Because her last 5 years have been hard. Like we've been through despair to. Like I say, she mentioned there, she lost a lot of weight. She was in hospital. She nearly died. It was intense, man. And again, without that support, I think I probably need a little bit of counselling. PTSD, mate. She stopped breathing in front of me. It was not cool, man. But that led to us getting to a better place, and she's got stuff in place now. Thanks to Acorns, thanks to the Children's Hospital, that she's on non-invasive breathing. So she has a machine called a BiPAP, which helps her breathe at night. Part of Abby's main issue is respiratory function, which is deteriorating. So for those who don't know what muscular dystrophy is, it's a muscle wasting condition. I don't think I was clear on that at the start, but
people have got Google, mate. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all very emotional, and there is no treatments or cures for it. It's just about giving her the best quality of life. And as she mentioned about her surgery, it's been something. She's got a really bad curve of her spine, and it should have had this operation in 2019. It didn't happen because of COVID, and it's caused significant trouble with her breathing and her position and all that kind of stuff. But we've been to and from trying to get the surgery done because her weight was so low, and it was always going to put her in a better position. But then we had just before we met the team in December, we had an appointment at the Children's Hospital that basically highlighted the risks, and they were too high. Basically, that one, she could die. Two, she could have severe brain damage. There could have been damage to her vocal cords because she's got contractures in her neck and can't move. So, and Abby's made this decision really that it's not worth the risk. And we were kind of inclined to say, you know what, right, you've already got a life in English, I ain't putting you through that. We just want you to enjoy what quality of life you've got. And so that's what we got to try and do. And that's why we're trying to raise money for this, and that we can give her those opportunities, and she can spend the last 12 months at Acorns getting more access to that, and beyond. We'll do other stuff. But that's where we're at. So thank you to everyone for listening and watching. I know it's not a football thing, not an easy thing to talk about, but and I probably switched off by now anyway, because we're 40 minutes in. But yeah, it's an important thing to highlight, I think.
Yes, definitely. I agree. And yeah, I mean, obviously, knowing Abby through you and like my brother and stuff. God, I can't think how long you've been mates with Pete. It's been
10, 11,
yeah,
12.
it's
No,
probably. I
12
think
years
I've known.
my
I,
research. You see my ear there, mate. 12 years apparently.
I think I've. I
Thank
think
you,
I've known.
team.
I think I've only ever known there being the Acorns thing stuff with Abby, so it must have been throughout
Yeah.
that time. But yeah, she's a
Well, the
fantastic.
thing is, one thing about just doing this show and when I was looking at what to talk about, like, is actually because it's like anything. When you have someone in your life that does things consistently, you almost take it for granted. You don't understand. You don't really see how much that thing or person does for you. Do you know what I mean? Until you kind of start breaking it down. And when I started writing stuff down, going, actually, what should I talk about? You go, oh, bloody hell, look, that was part of Acorns. That was part of Acorns. And so over the like 10, 11 years we've been using it, you suddenly realise that, God, they've been a massive influence without really intriguing on us. Like, you know, intriguing, like intruding, that's the word, yeah, intruding on us, and that's massive as well. So yeah, I can't speak high enough of them, mate. And this is a little thing, but if we can raise £1,000 for them, and you know that can go towards giving another family a some respite or whatever, then I'm happy, mate. You know,
Brilliant, nice. I actually think we shouldn't go on to football chat. I think we should leave this episode there around that.
Yeah.
We are going to be talking on Thursday with Amy AVFC from TikTok. So we will be talking about things about like a little bit on the transfer window, and then we'll probably be talking about some of the.
Remember, Wednesday is fixture release day, so we'll be talking about the start of our season.
It is. We'll be talking about the start, end, the run in at the end as well, and then also what
are we going to be away on the first day? Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. Brilliant. Well, as always, thank you so much for that, Gary. That was really, really interesting. And I'm sure, hopefully, like we said to everyone, just scan the code below. We will be talking about it in all our videos anyway. So don't worry about if you've missed it on this one, or if you don't know how to enter. It's very simple. Like, subscribe, scan that. £5 entry gives you one entry into trying to win this fabulous ball that Gary is holding in his hands right now. Multiple entries, absolutely fine. You can have as many as you want, but it's £5 per entry. If you want to, spread the cost, you could do like a £2, £2, and a £1 over a few weeks. That's £5. Totally up to you. I'll try my best to keep track of it all.
Thanks, James.
Yes, and we will do a live spin the wheel draw probably sometime in November before the winter break. Brilliant. That's all I think from my side. Gary, anything else from your side?
Yes, mate. Just thanks for allowing us to do this. I know it's kind of it's off topic, but I massively appreciate being able to talk about it. And I know that Abby was keen to come on and express what Acorns do for her. So yeah, I again massively appreciate it. Please like and subscribe and donate, and let's get that £1,000 to Acorns. It'll be great.
Yeah, brilliant. Cheers, everyone. Go on, Gary. Sing us out, mate.
Every week we follow the boys in claret and blue.
See you.
Peace and love.